Welcome back to Fogger Figures, where today I'm going to be doing another WWF Hasbro figure unboxing, and this one is going to be looking specifically at Series 7 or the Yellow Card series.
And no one can stop me now!
I wasn't actually that hopeful that I was going to get some Yellow Card figures to unbox and have them loose. This is obviously one of the later series in the line. This is from 1993, and because it's one of the later series where every series was kind of out in a different colour, at this point they weren't producing any foreign language cards. They were all coming out on English language cards. All of the coloured card backs from Series 7 through to Series 11, the green cards, they all came out even on English language cards only. And I actually think Series 6 is the same. Even though Series 6 is still on the blue and red cards, I don't think there's any foreign language versions of them out there. I don't think I've ever seen any foreign language Series 6 figures. So that's Ric Flair, Papa Shango, Repo Man, Matador, I think it's in that series as well. There's a few, I think there's maybe 6 in total. I'd have to go and look it up to say exactly, but those guys, I don't think, at that point, I think they stopped producing foreign cards. So from that point on, there was no kind of cheaper alternative. So you couldn't just go and get the foreign version to have that as a loose figure and keep a mint one on an English language card, because they were all on English language cards. So I didn't think I was going to manage to track any of these guys down, because Series 7, even though there's no kind of grail pieces in this series, there's no Dusty Rhodes or 1-2-3 Kids or anything like that, they're all of a fairly high standard. You know, they're all figures that are desirable, hard to get your hands on, go for good money. The closest, I mean, you know, there's none in the line that are really expendable figures. There's none that you can kind of just pick up here, there, and everywhere, like Samu or the Greg Valentine or British Beefcake 1. There's none of those guys in this series. They're all pretty desirable pieces, and the closest one would probably be Kamala. The most readily available would probably be Kamala, but even at that, he's not that cheap. I mean, you can't just get him every other Tuesday. And the rest of them are all pretty desirable figures. So the line in total is Kamala, Nails, Owen Hart, the two figures I have here. There's the first incarnation of Crush, so Kona Crush in his purple and yellow. Then there's Razor, Ramon, and Shawn Michaels. Now, so for those three figures, Crush, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, I mean, they're desirable figures. They're hard figures to get your hands on in the yellow card series, but the real expensive versions of those guys come later on. So the blue card, Series 10, the blue cards, that's where your different colour scheme Shawn and Razor come out. So variants, that's the word I'm looking for. The paint variants of Razor and Shawn come out on the blue cards, and those are the ones that go for kind of big money. And then same thing with Crush. The paint variant of Kona Crush, which is actually Evil Crush, the purple and black version of Crush, he comes out in the green card series. So he's a desirable figure. I mean, a relatively expensive figure in the yellow card series, but the real money on Crush is in the green card. As we all know, the green cards are the expensive ones. So probably the most expensive figure in this line, I think, is this guy actually, is Owen Hart. So I've seen Owen go for, mint on card, go for like £200 in that kind of region. If you have a nice grade, a high grade, graded Owen Hart mint on card, I've seen that go for £500. You know, if you've got an 85 or even a 90 grade Owen Hart, that's the best part of £500 you're gonna get for that. So I didn't think I would get him. I did not think I'd get an Owen Hart, but I managed to get this one because this one's pretty banged up. You can see the bubble there is all squashed, and the card is torn actually at the top here. So I've got a reasonable price for him. Well, I think it was a reasonable price. Owen is one of the figures that's reasonably valuable just loose. You know, as a loose mint figure, he does hold some value. So, you know, I don't actually think I would be, given what I paid for him, I don't actually think I'll be losing much money, if any, taking him off the card anyway. So no issues opening him up. Nails, on the other hand, Nails is on a really nice card. He's on an almost perfect card. But if you follow the channel, you'll know that I actually won Nails. I won Nails in a Facebook raffle. So again, no real investment in it for me. I don't really need to be keeping on the card. But even so, he has a big split, a big crack at the top of his bubble over here. So yeah, I wouldn't be keeping him on card anyway. Those are kind of the guys that I like to take off, the guys that have got some kind of damage. So yeah, Nails is coming off as well. But yeah, really happy to have them. Two really cool figures, and looking forward to having them in my my loose figure collection. So if we start with Nails, actually, let's get him off the card. Oh, that came off really easy. Nails is a figure that I've been looking out for. Nice and stiff. He has that $1 million man. You know, I've seen people say on a Facebook chat recently, someone was asking about the Smash move, they called it. The move that Smash has in Series 1. They said, why do they not do more of them? I didn't realise, but that's the move that Nails has. I thought it was a two-arm sort of mechanism, but no, his left arm is it just kind of rotates nice and stiff, but it just kind of goes all the way around, whereas it's his right arm that has that smash demolition action, just kind of springs up. So yeah, Nails, not a figure I had growing up, but one that I remember the character pretty vividly. I mean, he reminds me of SummerSlam 1992, and not because I can remember that was 1992, but just because, you know, it's such an iconic event, Wembley Stadium, that you just know it's 1992. I remember coming home from school to watch that event, and Nails fought the Big Boss Man at that, I'm fairly certain. And that kind of confuses me a bit, that event, because I remember really clearly, like, stopping at Woolworths on the way home from school, getting a pick and mix, and then going home to watch SummerSlam. And I'm not entirely sure, like, if I was watching that live or if it was recorded, because it was in the UK, it was in Wembley, so, you know, there was no issues with time delay. So usually most of the pay-per-views would be on during the night, so you'd have to watch it the next day or days later. But I was thinking, did we watch that live? Because after school time, like kind of 4 o'clock, that probably would have been about the right time for that event to start. But then, if it was after school, was it on a weekday? I mean, you'd assume that it was on a Sunday. So I don't know why I'd been watching it on a weekday. It must have been like a second showing or something on Sky Sports that I was watching. But I certainly remember going home with a pick and mix to watch SummerSlam. And I'm fairly certain that was where I saw Nails fight the Big Boss Man. And that, I mean, obviously it's almost like a one and done gimmick, because he came in as a disgruntled prisoner that Big Boss Man had apparently abused. And I remember he stole Big Boss Man's nightstick, and that for me, that's like a real big part of this character. He had Big Boss Man's nightstick, he beat Big Boss Man up with a nightstick, and even as a kid, I thought, why does Nails not have a nightstick? Surely that should be his accessory. He should have Big Boss Man's nightstick, because he had it for most of his run. That was a big part of what his character was. And I mean, he didn't last much longer after the Big Boss Man feud. I mean, he was gone fairly quickly after that. So, you know, it was a fairly significant part of his character, having his nightstick. And it looks like his hand on this figure is sculpted to hold something. So I was wondering if there was maybe a plan for him to have the nightstick at one point, and then maybe just a cost-cutting measure. They thought, no, we'll not bother. We won't give him an accessory. But that's the only thing that I've always kind of thought about this figure, is that he should have a nightstick accessory. He really should. But good figure. Like, I mean, he's a fairly unique figure, because there's no other figure that's in a prison jumpsuit, you know, and the mold for his body is completely unique, because it's got the kind of t-shirt underneath and the collar of the jumpsuit, the sleeves on, Department of Correction number on the back. Yeah, it is a cool figure. I really like Nails. I was looking forward to opening him up. When I won it in the raffle, there was a choice of prizes, and there was graded figures. in that you could choose a graded figure in that raffle, but I wanted Nails loose so much that obviously it came with Adam Bomb mint on card, so I wasn't going to say no to that. But I wanted Nails loose so much that that's what swung it for me. That prize selection. I have tried to buy him a couple of times, but this is one of the figures that people are just all of a sudden asking silly prices for. You've got a mint on card Nails, and people are like, right, okay, yeah, I'll give it to you, no worries, £180. Like, what? But yeah, so really happy to have him. And if I hadn't won him in that raffle, I probably wouldn't have been able to get my hands on him on card anyway to unbox and open up. But yeah, there he is. He's off the card. He's nice and fresh. He's mint. He's a really cool figure, actually. Happy with that. So he goes into the loose figure collection. And next up, we've got this man. So let's crack him open. So Owen Hart is a guy that kind of suffers the same fate as a few different WWF wrestlers through the Hasbro figure line, because Owen, he's not really in the image, he's not really in the gimmick that you most remember him for. This is him in his high energy / new foundation apparel, and I mean, it's not a bad look for Owen Hart, but you really remember him when he was the King of Hearts. That's really when you remember with the kind of pink bodysuit, I suppose. I don't know what you call it, like singlet and shorts suit. That's the most kind of memorable image for Owen Hart. So it's a bit of a shame that he landed in this gimmick when the figures were produced. I mean, I suppose the kind of silver lining is that Jim the Anvil Neidhart came out in the same kind of gear, so you do have the new Foundation tag team, and unlike the Natural Disasters where Earthquakes in his singles gear and Typhoons in his tag team gear, they do actually match as a tag team. So if you just had Jim Neidhart in his gear and Owen was in his King of Hearts gear, then Neidhart would be a proper kind of oddball, but they do match as a tag team, so that I suppose is a silver lining to the fact that they're not in their most iconic gear. But good fig, and I like the head sculpt. I like that. I hear a lot of people kind of complain about this head sculpt for Owen, but I like it because, as I say, this is his new Foundation era. This is when he was doing lots of high-flying moves with Coco Beware and then Jim Neidhart as well. And this was really how he presented himself. He was smiley, he was happy, he was energetic, and this face, I think, kind of captures that. So yeah, more than happy with that mold, that head mold for him. He's got a good move. I mean, you probably could have justified giving him a jump move, but I don't like jumpers. I prefer clothesliners to jumpers. So yeah, I'm happy that Owen's got this move. Generally speaking, one of the best, I think, probably one of the best Hasbro figures. I mean, at the moment, there's a feature on the Figures 4 podcast that if anyone listens to that, if you don't, go and listen to it on Spotify. But they're ranking the Hasbro figures. They've only just started. They're only kind of 5 or 6 into it. But I think Owen would rank pretty highly in the entire Hasbro series. He's got to be a top 10, I think. I mean, that's a really good figure. I can understand why he's so desirable. I think it's a really cool representation of him. I think the colours pop. Same with Neidhart, actually. I mean, even though it's not the gimmick you want Neidhart to be in, or Owen to be in, but these outfits do kind of pop. They're really kind of vibrant, stand out, and they look cool on display. So, great figure, actually. Yeah, really good figure. So, there's Owen. He'll go into the collection alongside Nails. This is a good day, man. I mean, to have both of these guys, these are figures that I thought I'd really struggle to get, figures that I'd actually considered just buying loose. I haven't done that yet for any of my figures. I haven't bought any just straight up loose yet. But these are guys that I thought I might have to at some point just buy them loose and have them on the shelf. But managed to avoid that, managed to get them both on card, and now have mint versions of them both. So absolutely delighted with that. Okay, so that's that for this video. There are a few more. I have a huge big box full of Hasbros upstairs that I'm going to be opening up in other videos soon. I am just trying. There's one video that I've literally been spending months trying to put together, all the figures I need for that video. So I'm hoping that pretty soon I'll have them and I'll be able to unbox them on video. But I do have a great big box that are just waiting to be unboxed. So those videos will be coming up very soon. So to see those, subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications. Please feel free to like, comment, share. Stay safe, and we'll speak soon.